Welcome everyone to the 19th episode of Busting Out. My name is Chris Parrish alongside with my beautiful co-host, Mr. Money or Monet. New Japan, you get it right because we
Monet.
don't either. But that is Bobby Munson, and below us is our special guest, is our good friend all the way over from England, correct? I'm not
That's
messing
right.
up
Yes,
already.
indeed.
Yeah.
No. I'm from
And
Yorkshire
like
in
you
the
saw
UK.
earlier, I know this from your show. We go 3, 2, 1, jazz hands. It's Dom Smith, people. Welcome, Dom. How are you? And thank you for
Oh yeah,
joining us today.
I'm good, man. Yeah, we do the jazz hands and then we say hull yeah. So anybody that's in the chat, anybody that wherever you are in the world, if you say hull yeah when you see this, that's all good with us. It's a pleasure to be here, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate the love between you both. It's wonderful to be here to talk about wrestling and have a platform to spread the "Give Me a Hull Yeah" word and yeah, just talk about the wonderful world of wrestling and the busy few weeks we've had. And we're only in January. It's only January the 8th, lads. What are we? What's happening? There's loads of stuff going on.
The community has
That's
exploded.
awesome.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's been a crazy time.
I will give you a whole yeah, but on here we do a little thing called the OUT challenge. And what that is, you got to get straight up to your microphone and in your loudest voice, you got to bust out a big old Olay. So can you give us an Olay, please?
All right. 3, 2, 1. Olay! Jazz hands. Yeah.
There it is. And our chat is pumping. We got Mel Boss and gentlemen. We got Papa Smokes entering. Yo, what up? And we have Ed Fries. Hey, how are you? And as you said, we have just an insane week already starting off. We have crazy news. And I just can't even begin to say like where it is, but I know we have a few things on the docket tonight. And the biggest one I think we have to talk about is the return to the wrestling scene, Mercedes Moné. I mean, what a better way to start. Yeah. But the question is she elite or is the boss going to return? Because speculation's coming out that she is not going to AEW. She is planning on doing some more stuff with New Japan, as I believe that match with Kyrie is official.
Yeah.
But the rumors is that she could still be on her way back to WWE. Now, my question is, despite of what maybe you thought about her debut, because I'm sure there's a lot of different opinions on that. We'll get to yours momentarily. But where do you think she ends up? And we'll start with you, Dom. What have you known about Mercedes Moné, and what did you actually think about her debut?
So that is a great question, Parrish. Yeah, for me, I watched that live. We did our first ever New Japan Wrestle Kingdom stream over on Gimme a Hull. Yeah, it was a 6:30 a.m. start for me and a 12:30 midday finish. It was a long pay-per-view, but Mercedes Moné's debut was certainly a highlight. I was not necessarily enamored with the finisher or whatever move she used to take out Kyrie. That was a little odd, but the rest of it was good. Presentation was good, and I think I think Mercedes Moné is an incredible businesswoman, and I think what's happening here is she's going to do New Japan, she's going to do a few dates, and then she's going to go straight back to WWE. I think that's what's happening. I think the Moné will be there for this New Japan run. She'll have been offered a ton of money, she'll have taken it, and then she'll be offered a ton of money to return. It would be bad business for Mercedes Moné to go to AEW, and then because I think WWE will always have plans for her. WWE will always have plans for Sasha Banks, whatever time in the world, whatever time it is, whatever month it is, whatever year it is. So I think it's a little worldwide tour that Mercedes Moné is doing. New Japan. Few dates for New Japan, few main events, maybe literally 2. I think she's contracted to 2 matches at New Japan, and then she'll return to WWE sooner rather than later. I think personally.
No, I wonder is she going to actually like? Oh, sorry, Parrish.
I was just gonna say, what did you happen to see it, and what did you think about it? Because boy, do I have an opinion.
The match, yeah. Like I say, we were watching it. We were watching it live on the Give Me a Hull Yeah podcast, and it was a great show. But yeah, the debut, the Mercedes Moné debut, the crowds are different in Japan, and it was we're used to sports entertainment, aren't we? So we're used to big crowds, loud pops and whatever. And the Japanese crowd, you really got to work hard to get them on side, and it didn't feel like it certainly didn't feel like a WWE debut or return to me. The presentation was good. I mean, the entrance was good. The attire was good. The move was terrible. But that's not the point. I guess it's the impact of Mercedes Moné debuting somewhere else than WWE. But did I see it? Yes. Was it good? Yeah, most of it was good. Most of it was, in terms of, again, that presentation. But I don't think it maybe I don't think it hit the notes that Mercedes Moné would want, in terms of a crowd reaction, but that's just because the Japanese crowds are different. And I also think that, again, that maneuver, whatever that was atrocious. Probably one of the worst debut attacks in wrestling history, debut beatdowns. But yeah, that's my opinion. A good debut, except for the beatdown or attack on Kyrie by Mercedes, because I don't think I've seen anything quite as botchy as that for a long time.
It was a very rough landing, to say the least.
Yeah. Yes, it was.
Yeah. So this is kind of like, and I say this because when I watch wrestling, it's still hard for me to dissect it in the way of a fan, just as someone that was in the ring and
yeah,
for the just under 19 years. I just look at wrestling one way, and like I was always taught, like, make sure everything about you is just out there. It's a bit larger than life.
Of course.
And I'm it's hard for me to look at Mercedes Moné and not see Sasha Banks still. Obviously, the Sasha Banks is going to be fresh in your minds of a lot of people, because that's why you're watching that moment. Is you wanted to see what is she becoming. How do you have a theme song that goes so flat in comparison is beyond me. Mm-hmm. And I was talking to Bobby before you came in. You're related to Snoop Dogg. How does he not get you a banger of a track for this?
I mean,
I'm sure Downstate would have been 100% on board too.
Yeah,
they make everyone's theme.
Yeah, they should. Yeah, they certainly
should.
It wasn't bad, man. I didn't think it was that bad. I think there are worse themes, But yeah, I know what you mean.
It wasn't memorable to me.
No,
and then,
you're right.
As you said,
yeah. All I can remember is the Moné bit. All I can remember is the Moné bit. Moné. That's it. That's all of it. So you're right.
Yeah, and then I just didn't understand if and you can maybe give me a little bit of a better thing, because I'm terrible with accents. I'm going to be bad with accents, whether it's understanding, whether it's impersonating them, anything. I'm just bad with it. But the single fact that she was saying Moné and the announcers were saying Moné, and I was like, okay, now if Mercedes Moné and say Frankie Monet were having a match, I'm pretty sure everyone would be confused right now, because I don't think anybody knew what we're supposed to call her. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, we know who she is, but what is she going to do in the ring? And then, as you said, that was an atrocious move. I don't understand why you just didn't keep it simple. Do your bank statement, do the submission. Just do all that. That is what we know. But that's not what she did, and it just looked awful. I don't think it's really going to impact her a lot. I think her draw power is what it is. She is a crossover star in the world of professional wrestling, especially with her stuff from The Mandalorian. But I do believe that was a flat debut, and I don't think that was the best return for her. And I really, really do not understand all the puns and all the references, if you can't even refer back to your skill set of moves. Like, gotta pick a side of the fence, if you ask me. Like, are you gonna be Sasha Banks 2.0, or are you gonna be Mercedes Money 1.0? And I think that was a very confusing transition for me as a viewer to watch. But yeah, no, that's just my point of view. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't hate this person. I'm not the biggest fan of her to begin with, but at the same time, I was really hoping she kicked the crap out of it, and I just feel she didn't. Also, I'm gonna throw it out there: change your move from bank statement to cash flow. That's my idea.
That's good. I like it, man. I like it. Yeah, the cash flow. Good.
But see, then that's taken away from Cash Flow Ken Broadway, who's tearing up the independent scene in the U.S. right now. I mean, he's going to be on the rise very, very soon. Hopefully, that doesn't happen. But Melball saying would have been nice if it could have been a surprise.
How do we evolve?
Well, you got a point, but Melball saying would have been nice if it could have been a surprise instead of the dirt sheets freaking out about it. And that's, a big downfall of professional wrestling nowadays. It is hard to stay away from the dirt sheets and what they're saying and the news coming out, because everybody shares it. It's like the whole wrestling community become the spoiler section of all the new movies that come out all of a sudden. They got to let you know what's going down. And then there is no element of surprise. The only element of surprise is when you get songs that sound like Crisscross that make Melball jump. But I had to.
You would get a champer clap on the podcast from me for that. There you go.
All right. But I mean, it is a major problem in professional wrestling nowadays. It's just the complete amount of leaks and everything like that to kill the element of surprise. It's very rare that we get those surprises anymore.
I agree. I agree. I mean, like I say, the only thing I can think about in modern times that wasn't, I mean, people knew, but it wasn't reported so widely, was Bray Wyatt's recent return. There was less reporting about that he was coming back. Obviously it was massively hinted with the White Rabbit stuff, but that was that was WWE, doing a proper, proper job of keeping, doing the White Rabbit stuff, the QR codes and all that. I think the issue is, and the problem you have with someone like Sasha Banks is, if she shows up at the airport, someone's gonna know about it. Do you know what I mean? I think they would have had a real hard time not figuring out when she was going to debut and what was going to happen. You know what I mean? So very rare. It's very rare and very special when we get surprised. There's a return. Do you know what I mean? And I was really pleasantly surprised at Bray's return. But yeah, I knew this was happening. That's why we did it. I saw a lot more live streamers, podcasts, platforms doing Wrestle Kingdom 17, staying up. I think because for you guys, was it 1 a.m. it started? And that's normally that's normally what. Yeah, that's normally when your pay-per-views start for us. That's normally when WWE pay-per-views start for us. So you stayed up, and I got up early. I got up at 6:30 a.m. to start streaming, which I've never done before. So, people knew it was happening. And I mean, it would have drawn more money, more money or money, no pun intended, to New Japan, for New Japan. And I'm sure from a business standpoint, the dirt sheets leaking, it probably helped, certainly with that international audience. But you're right, both of you guys saying that it's very rare that we get a special surprise return these days. And the only one I can think of from this past year, I don't know, actually, maybe Dakota Kai, but then a big level one, like Bray Wyatt's probably the only example I can give you. I would say.
Yeah, I was even going to go back to last year WrestleMania with Cody Rhodes.
Cody, there you go.
Everyone knew he was coming back. But my next question was going to be kind of going in, does this now make that next matchup for Mercedes Moné against Kyrie? Does that put a lot of pressure on this match now, knowing that maybe that, debut didn't hit every chord the right way? It wasn't like that provable like home run. Like it was maybe a good triple, I guess, if I'm going to go baseball references. But does this put more pressure on this match needing to perform to be a very well executed match, or like how does this go now with her? Because I don't know if it's good for her to have her first two appearances outside of WWE not necessarily hit the expectation.
I think that there's a really good point, Parrish, but I think you've got to think from a business standpoint. New Japan are trying to grow their audience in America, and it will be the first time Sasha Banks has wrestled in America since her time in WWE. So from a business standpoint, in terms of buy rates, in terms of streaming, in terms of all that, New Japan, they're not going to be worried about what we're worried about as fans. As fans, we're talking, yeah, we are we going to enjoy that match as much? Is she going to botch again? Possibly. But from a business standpoint, New Japan aren't worrying about that, man. They're thinking we need to grow our audience in the US. This is Mercedes Moné's first show in America since she left WWE. They're going to be getting those tickets. They're going to sell those tickets. They're gonna get those get those streams on. I mean, we have a membership on New Japan Wrestling World, NGPW World now because of Wrestle Kingdom 17. We'll probably watch that pay-per-view on there. I imagine globally those figures, those buy rates for New Japan World, and maybe at the show in America. I can't remember where it is. In February, I think they'll be through the roof. You're right. You said it earlier, Parrish and Bobby. Both of you said her crossover appeal, Mercedes Moné's crossover appeal is exceptional. But will she botch in the match? Will it be an incredible wrestling match? That it remains to be seen. But again, from a business standpoint, and I'll stop talking now. But from a business standpoint, man. Both of you guys, New Japan are already making their money. They're already building their audience, and that's what they want to do.
You could say they have Moné in the bank.
Moné in the bank. You can have one too.
Yeah, no, like my thing was more internal, like from the performer standpoint. Like, does she feel more pressured thinking about that?
Yeah.
I mean, you're absolutely right, though. Like, this is business that you have to make. It's absolutely great. And Bobby, very nicely done. Moné in the bank. Money in the bank. It's all relative here.
Very nice segue.
But Money in the Bank.
Yeah,
Money in the Bank. Sounds like you're from London, baby. That's probably a horrible
that was
accent. I'm sorry.
I enjoyed it. I live like 3 hours away from London, but it's a big deal. It's a big deal for the UK. We were talking off stream before we came on here live, and it's a huge deal for us, to have that. I'll let you guys talk. It is your show, but certainly as a UK fan and someone that gets to work in the wrestling media, gets to do stuff with WWE. Fortunately, it is a wonderful opportunity across the board for us, from a media perspective, but also from a fan perspective. WWE, I believe the UK is the second, as far as I'm aware, it's the second biggest audience that WWE has. So it makes sense for them to do this. I think we will have 2 pay-per-views a year going forward in the UK. I think we'll have a Clash of the Castle equivalent, a kind of a, glorified house show type thing, but then Money in the Bank, that's the big 5. That is the big 5. So, since SummerSlam, we were talking Parrish again off stream. We haven't had a big show, top 5 show, since SummerSlam in the 90s. So this is huge, and I think it'll give. And also, I know there's another reason they've done it too. Tyson Fury has a lot of US visa issues at the moment because of some of his allegiances. So it's a way for Tyson Fury to get on that card and to draw more eyes to that on the WWE network, but also in the UK. So from a business standpoint, very clever. London is of course is our biggest city. It's our capital. People will travel from all across the UK to go. It's going to be fantastic. I'm really excited about it. Money in the Bank is one of my favorite pay-per-views of the year. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But as a UK fan, I'm super excited about it.
Now let's talk about the O2 Arena for a minute, because a lot of the people tuning in right now might not be very familiar. I know a little bit of the background of the O2, the size of it and stuff like that. But in comparison to other arenas within the UK, where does the O2 stand in terms of legacy and size?
So it's huge. Obviously, it's a massive concert arena. You get next to Wembley. You play the O2. So in terms of bands and artists, Metallica have done a couple of nights there. Some of the Iron Maiden, some of the biggest metal bands, obviously some of the bigger indie bands as well. That are selling out arenas in the US will do the O2, and that will be one of their, well, it will be their biggest UK date, to give you an idea. Wembley is legendary, but the O2 is in terms of size and capacity, it's another level. So the O2 has a really big legacy in terms of bands and artists. And obviously wrestling, it's going to have a legacy now for that. Fingers crossed. Maybe they'll do all of their. I mean, as someone from the north of the UK, so I'm sort of closer geographically to Manchester, where you guys, Manchester's probably our second most famous or notable city in the UK. So I'm sort of more geographically close to there. I'm from Yorkshire. So it takes me about an hour and a half to get to Manchester, whereas it takes me about 3 hours to get to London. But I think if you look at the legacy, going back to your question there, guys, it has a great legacy, and I would love to see more pay-per-views closer to me. But from a business standpoint, it's the biggest place they could have gotten to do this. Yeah.
Awesome.
And Bobby, I have to ask, you're the one who is Mr. Money. How this has to be, just from a gimmick standpoint, your favorite PLE pay-per-view, depending on how old you are and what you want to call it, because I'm still stubborn. But I mean, yeah, this is huge, because I can just speak on my end, just from a non-American, a non-Brit or somebody. The UK audience is amazing. Bobby, I'll let you kind of take the floor with it, but what are your opinions about a major pay-per-view not happening in North America?
I mean, clearly, I was saying to you guys off stream, the one thing I do love about this is the start time. And again, Dom, you mentioned it as well too. For you guys, it works out perfectly. For us over here, it works out just as perfect, because we go on to watch one of these streams, and as I'm getting a little bit older, it's getting a little bit more difficult to make it all the way through. And especially if you want to do some sort of review or, react show afterwards kind of thing, it gets pretty late at night. So when we get these UK, like Clash in the Castle was perfect to start at about 10 or 11 in the morning over here. We're done by early afternoon. You get on with your day on a Saturday when I don't have to have the shoot job. I love it. I think the crowds are fantastic. Again, I'm a big fan of English football, soccer, as it's known over here. And I love the crowd audience reactions, how passionate, how into it they are. And you get that crossover when it comes to the UK presentation of professional wrestling. And that's what is so intriguing and inviting about watching these pay-per-views there.
Yeah, man, it's going to be noisy. It's going to be chaotic. I mean, when they did Clash of the Castle in Cardiff is a much smaller city than London, and they took it over. WWE took it over. There was banners everywhere. You couldn't go anywhere without seeing WWE. I don't think it's going to be quite the same in London, but in terms of the crowds, I mean, it was a party. It was a party from the morning till the evening. Wrestling fans turned into soccer fans for the day. And if you obviously know globally, soccer fans, and I know it's the same in the US with football. You start drinking in the morning. You don't end drinking until the next morning. But wrestling fans typically, as not always the biggest party is, or known as the biggest party is, whereas soccer fans and American football fans are. But wrestling fans, certainly in the UK, turn into that. It was wild. There was there was some scenes on the streets of Cardiff that I can't talk about on this podcast without getting you guys banned. I saw some stuff, man, that I can't wipe from my memory. Wrestling, you know, the typical wrestling fan looks like me, the beard and the long hair, whatever. You know, there was lots of that. Everybody was getting wild. Everyone was taking their clothes off in the streets. It was chaos, and that was just in the arena. You know, it was chaos, man. And it was great fun. You know, great fun as a good time. Obviously, brought a lot of tourism to Cardiff as well. You know, again, I obviously it's not quite the same. Doesn't have the same impact, I don't think, in London. Obviously, because it's again our biggest tourist market, but certainly for Cardiff, the WWE did wonders for Cardiff's tourist economy. So if it can bring more money to the UK, more wrestling fans to the UK, get people out of the house, post pandemic, some people are still struggling with that. If it's an exciting time that gets people out of the house and gets people motivated again, if it motivates wrestling fans to go to WWE shows, I'm all for it, and if we have the opportunity on Give Me a Whole Yeah and my other platform Soundsphere, where we do a lot of our wrestling WWE stuff with WWE, if we get an opportunity to speak to some of those superstars like we did last time, that's wonderful for our audience as well. So it's a win-win for wrestling fans across the board,
Certainly is.
Yeah, for sure. And I think one of the big things for me is like I'm a huge fan of the atmosphere, or like just if something looked a little bit different. Like I go back, like every time WWE was in Madison Square Garden, they had that funky entrance for a while until they renovated the arena. They had that one entrance aisle that just looked a little different, and it just always felt special to me as a kid watching, because you notice that. And every time WWE is to ever go into the United Kingdom, England specifically, there's always an aura about those shows that always just make them stand out and always make them feel special. You talked about the Clash at the Castle. I think that was one of the best pure shows they have done in a long time. And I know my first instinct was, this has to be a yearly thing. This was so good not to have it again. And probably one of the best matchups in Sheamus and Gunther had at that. Just absolutely amazing.
It was incredible. Absolutely incredible, man. Yeah, it was match of the night for a lot of people. That, yeah.
Yeah, and like I just can't be remiss to think at Money in the Bank, we're going to get just a load of UK involvement within the course of a show. And knowing Triple H's love for NXT and how important NXT UK was to him, no longer anymore, but we know that NXT Europe is on the horizons down the road. I can only imagine how much this is going to just upstart as well, and how important this show is for the beginning of NXT Europe. But I would be so happy just to see guys like Butch or Gunther, even Sheamus, like Drew McIntyre, but even maybe on the women's side, you're seeing, I know like Becky Lynch is from Ireland, but then you also have like, say like a Ginny, or bring back a lot of those NXT, like Piper Niven, who I think is one of the most underrated women performers out there. Like seeing somebody like that absolutely just star in one of these events, and just hearing, like, there is nothing better than seeing a hometown performer with the hometown crowd backing them. It's such a wonderful story, and especially if you got to cash in that night, I mean, you might as well just renovate the building after, because there won't be a roof afterwards. Like I'm ecstatic. Like this is going to be an amazing show.
Yeah, it will be, and I'm putting my my money on it now on record right here. I think we're going to get a UK win for Money in the Bank. Not necessarily both of them, but one of them. I think we could have a Butch win. We could have a returning Doudrop win, or Piper Niven, something like that. One of those Money in the Banks is going to go to a UK person. I think we could see some returns. some re-debuts. Tyler Bate hasn't been seen since in NXT for a while, since losing to Braun. I think Tyler Bate shows up there. Obviously, his legacy, in terms of the NXT UK stuff he did there is so I think Tyler Bate would be an incredible debut there. Obviously, it'd be a great time to bring a guy like that onto the main roster in some form. But I think we're certainly getting Tyson Fury. I put money on it. I would put big money that we're getting Tyson Fury. It's a way for them to get him on a show without having to, obviously, again, without having to cross the US government. And I think also, I almost guarantee a UK, female or male wins one of those Money in the Bank briefcases.
Now, wouldn't it be amusing if Tyson Fury's whole involvement at this year's Money in the Bank was to prevent Austin Theory from getting his cash in before his time runs up? If he goes for the cash in and gets socked in the face one last time, unable to perform, done deal.
He's already used it, man.
Oh, did he? Okay, I mean, that shows how much I paid attention recently.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
He cashed in against Rollins.
Yeah, it's a good idea, though. It's a good idea, I mean, maybe somebody tries to cash it in on that night, and Tyson Fury stopped. What if it could be a heel? I mean, most of the UK guys that are there, Sheamus, Drew, Drew having a moment with Money in the Bank there would be huge. But they're good guys, they're faces, so it would have to be a heel, I think, unless Tyson Fury was going to go heel. But again, unless he can feature prominently on the program in the US, I don't see that happening. So I think he's definitely going to show up, maybe to help Drew win, maybe something like that. He will have a prominent role. He may even wrestle a match. I think he might even wrestle a match, to be honest. I think, again, against an Austin Theory would be cool. Something like that would work. I
would love an interaction between Theory and Tyler Bate, just two of the young, most up and coming stars in this business, in that company, just shining at a show like that. There's something about that that's just magical. It's like when you had the opportunity to see Rock and Austin battle for the Intercontinental title, you had no idea what you're getting yourself into 10 years later. Like, just the beginning of something that could be like just monumental. So who's to think that in 10 years, Theory and Tyler Bate aren't the face of this company?
Absolutely, Parrish. I agree with you wholeheartedly there. Like I say, WWE has put more and more faith in UK talent over the years to carry the company to hit that main event, and stay there. And so, I think there's every reason to believe, alongside a guy like Theory, who's being billed as the next John Cena, will be in that main event, but alongside a guy like Tyler Bate, who could easily have this a same or similar legacy to a guy like Drew McIntyre now, So I think I think that's a great idea. I think that's a great idea. Why not? Why shouldn't Austin Theory and Tyler Bate be main eventing in 10 years?
I know just from being a Canadian, we take so much pride into seeing Canadian talent rise. Like, for example, like what we're seeing with Sami Zayn, right, and Kevin Owens right now, but more with Sami Zayn, like, it's absolutely amazing to see a Canadian talent kind of there. We got spoiled when we had like the Hart Foundation in that era, just because there's so much more at the top then, and now we're seeing a lot more gradual rises with some of the talent there. How does it feel to have, like, being a local in the United Kingdom? How does it feel to see this absolute boom of United Kingdom wrestling, and not only transcend from the independent level, but actually put a stamp in the biggest company, and that is WWE? Like, how does that feel? And I know, like, you can go to AEW and you're seeing a lot, like, Pac is still one of my favorites. That guy is just an absolute star in WWE. You're still an idiot for letting that guy go. But how does it feel to see the rise of professional wrestling in the UK right now?
That's a great question. I mean, we certainly had a drop, the sort of beginning of the pandemic, with all the obviously with the pandemic stopping wrestling shows, but also the speaking out movement was it really took out some talents. obviously, the less said about that, the better. But British wrestling took a dive because of that, you know. But I think that, you know, certainly it's had a resurgence in recent years. Obviously, Progress Wrestling, local to me, we have New Generation Wrestling, NGW, Preston City Wrestling, PCW. These are all companies with, you know, with national and international, you know, stars and viewerships, you know, that are doing really well again now. There's some incredible UK talent. One of the things that I'm doing this year is launching a platform called WrestleSphere, which will be a spin-off of SoundSphere, which is obviously our music platform. And our priority with that is to talk about the UK and the British wrestling scene, or BritRes, as the hashtag is on Twitter, British wrestling. You know, it's massive at the moment, and you're seeing stars, you know, who thrived in NXT UK now in main event WWE situations. Or you know, you even have Trent Seven in AEW, you know, getting those, you know, getting those showcases. So there's some wonderful, you know, wonderful UK talent coming up now, and people that have been, you know, working really hard on the indie scene here for years. It is a, you know, an incredible. I mean, you know, guys like Bryan Danielson used to come to the UK to have proper technical matches. You know, people really honed their craft, really became something, you know, before maybe either, you know, going back to WWE. Drew McIntyre is your example there, or before they get to WWE, you know, your Tyler Bate, your Pete Dunne, your Isla Dawn now as well. He's doing very well. There's some incredible UK talents, man. It's you know, I mean Malachi Black, you know, was on the European wrestling scene, of course, you know, but you have to go, even if you're in Holland, even if you're not, you have to go to the UK to become a champion, to become to become noticed. And that's how Tommy and Malachi Black got his foot in the door, you know, in WWE, was his work on the UK scene. And you know, same with Killian Dane with Big Damo. You know, those talents are still, you know, and they're making a living. You know, they're making a living, a full-time living on the UK scene, you know, doing this stuff and also doing bookings in Europe. It's a great time to be a wrestling fan and to be a wrestler, you know, in our scene. You know, people are dedicated here. People are hardworking and you know, in the main, you know, hard workers. I mean, it's a life lesson that transcends wrestling, but in the main, like that hard work, if you put your heart and soul into it, as you will know, Perish, and you will know, Bobby, with the people you've met, the hard work does pay off, unless you're a dickhead, and then, you know, then it doesn't. But you know, most people I know that have succeeded in wrestling, they're not dickheads. They're good people, you know.
Times have changed. Times have changed.
You might toe the line sometimes.
Yeah. You know,
it's a great time.
A famous man once said, "If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying." All right.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But yeah. Bobby, any last things before I just want to make sure we get a word from our sponsors in, but any last things about Money in the Bank, about the UK British scene right now? Any questions that you may have, or for Dom or anything?
Nothing coming to
no
me
pressure.
at the moment right now. So
I'll take anything. I'll take anything. If anybody wants to ask me any weird questions, I'll take favorite color. I'll take favorite sexual position. Anything you want, I'll answer.
There you go. Get the hype train going in the chat now with those types of questions. Come on, chat. You got the open door.
I'll take anything, and I'll be honest about it. So yeah.
In order to appreciate your favorite sex position, you got to be absolutely full of energy. And what better way than Rogue Energy, our sponsor right now? And here's a little video to check out some of the flavors you can buy when you go to Rogue Energy.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's right. If you go to rogueenergy.com and you want to use the promo code OLE pods, you can save 10% off your order. Just remember that they do a plethora of things. You can get an energy drink in a can, but that is for US only residents. They do not ship those overseas, but you can get a plethora of flavors as you just saw. You can get free samples as well. You can get some nice little shakers. Make sure you're going over there to get the new Kurt Benkert shaker. Yeah, he is a former quarterback in the NFL. A lot of you may not know that. Even I don't know him very well, and I'm the football guy, American football, that is. But yeah,
nice correction. And keep it.
we do have that comment. We need to keep it on the rails.
So we'll keep it on the rails.
Now with this next topic. Now with this next topic, because this guy really kind of changed the phrase "keeping it on the rails," and that is Vince McMahon.
Yeah,
and
we got no chance in hell of keeping it on the rails now.
None at all.
Good work.
But Vince McMahon back in the WWE, kind of not really, but yes, back in the shareholder start. And right away, the talks about WWE being on sale rises up again. This is absolutely huge. I remember just the day I hear Vince McMahon retiring and how that was just a shock, let alone he doing it on Twitter, which is even weirder. But the single fact that he is back and now there's talking about WWE being on the sale, like that's crazy to me. Even though I know that this is probably the best for business, we'll go back to that line. It's still crazy to think that WWE won't be in the McMahon family. What are your guys' thoughts? Because this is absolutely like insane to me.
Yeah, man. I mean, it makes sense. You know, Vince is a shrewd businessman. He's trying to get his money. You know, he built that company. He built it into what it is today. You know, he's getting his money and getting out again. You know, I truly believe a lot of people are frightened whether this is going to affect creative. I think this is purely a business decision. I think he's coming in, getting his money and getting out. I think he'll go to NBC, something like that. He'll get his money and then he'll go and enjoy it. I mean, obviously that's me as a fan and someone that obviously has done limited research, but obviously some people are saying he's doing this to get back into control and get back ownership, you know, and whatever. But I think this is obviously with his court stuff, his responsibilities there. I think it's, you know, I think he knows it's bad for business to be featured on WWE television to regularly anyway, to be getting involved in creative. You know, I think this is purely a business decision. He's going to make that sale, taking the money that he is, you know, in his head he feels like he's earned, and arguably has to a point. You know, but obviously let's not ignore the myriad, the massive amounts of allegations against him. I think he knows, as he should, that he needs to stay away from WWE and the creative, and certainly on camera and getting involved in people's businesses, you know, outside of that sale, because, you know, that'd be terrible for business. So I think this is Vince coming to get his money and going, and that's what I hope it is. If it's anything more than that, if it's him coming in to take control back, then there's going to be people leaving WWE left, right, and center. I believe two people have already left. Two of the board members have already gone. Obviously, Vince McMahon hired two more as well. So it's a weird time. Again, you know, it's a great time to be a wrestler, and it's a great time to be a wrestling fan. Is it the best time to be working at WWE right now? You know, if you're in the business, I'm not sure. You know, it'd be quite frightening in a way, I imagine. There's a lot of people I know that, you know, in terms of if you're reading the dirt sheets, people are saying, oh, if Vince is back, I don't want to be there. But it just depends how, you know, and I'd be interested to see some of the people in the chat, you know, get involved in this conversation, particularly because, you know, it'd be interesting to see, and you guys as well, you know, to what level you guys think he's going to get involved. Is he coming back to start messing, you know, to start letting go of, you know, big contract? Is he going to start messing with your Braun Strowman, you know, your Bray Wyatt again, start getting rid of them? is that what he's here to do, to save money, to make the company more profitable, or is he selling to NBC and that's going to be that? That's a big question I have for you guys, because it's fascinating that a guy with this amount of legal issues against him, and the serious nature of those as well, has the iron grapefruits, or the steel grapefruits, as he used to go on about, enough to come back in, and make this sale. It's unprecedented. I've never seen anything. I've never seen anything like this. I've never heard of anything like this. The guy's got, he has got iron grapefruits, whether it's right or wrong. And I certainly would keep him far away from the creative stuff. Again, there is an argument that he's earned some money from a business standpoint. He deserves to benefit from that sale to a point. But some of that money should be used to obviously pay back costs and things that he's incurred as well. Anyway, that's my take on it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I first heard the news, I kind of got this vision in my head of Vince McMahon kicking open the boardroom doors with a boombox in his hand, playing "I'm Back" and "Better Than Ever" as he's walking into there, and as he starts throwing out "You're fired, you're fired" to make room for all his new friends. This is an interesting thing too, because you mentioned the two board members that were hired. These were two that I believe Vince had let go prior to hiring Nick Khan as his money guy as well too. So this really helped to ramp up the idea that a sale is imminent. And the way I see it, and again, going back to what Barry Monkey 99 was saying, rich egotistical people tend not to be able to stand back, and that's just it. Vince created all of this, and in his mind, there is nobody that is going to take the paycheck from whoever it is, NBC, Netflix, or whoever else has been rumored in this process. Nobody is going to get handed that check other than Vince McMahon. No. He's going to be there to take it, to be able to announce it, to be able to say, I built this empire, and now it's going globally through a big network, which is what he's always wanted to see happen with this thing. And I strongly believe that it's going to be NBC. Again, there's been a big partnership there for so many years with the WWE, dating back decades, in fact. And with everything already already on Peacock as it is in the US, I could see that happening. And maybe NBC even continuing on with the WWE network, reaching outside of the US market there too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I strongly believe that Vince McMahon never intended to let go of all the people. I thought the pandemic played a larger role in the release of all those people. Maybe not everyone. I'm sure situations are, they're always different. You never really know, because we're just people that speculate on the news. But at the end of the day, yeah, 100%. Like, I think he's there just to make sure that the sale of the business goes in, because from what I understand, he is one of the vast shareholders of WWE still. And in order for the sale of WWE to go, he has to be not only there, but approve of it as well. Like, he has to be involved in this regardless. So I think people, in the words of Barry Monkey, need to stand back a little bit on how much, because I know his, what he has done has already, whether it's good or bad, whether it's what he's done for wrestling, whether it's what he's done outside of wrestling in terms of the allegations, his history precedes himself. And with that, a lot of warranted and some not warranted opinions may arise. But at the end of the day, I believe that this isn't like everything is about money. I understand that. But I do believe he still cares about the next 50 years of world wrestling entertainment. And I think people need to at least give him that, because he's still, his heart beats one thing, and that's the WWE logo. All right. Like, that's his baby. And I can't even begin to put myself in his position when it comes to having to let go of that. Because
I mean, that's a good point. That's a good point, dude. But equally, I mean, some of the allegations, if you love it that much, I see what you're saying. 100% see what you're saying, and I'm not here to start a fight with you, man. Obviously, it's a pleasure to be here, as I keep saying. But I think if you love something that much, do you put it at risk you know, by doing the things you do, you know, in the things that Vince has done behind the scenes. I think on camera you can play a part, and obviously he's played various characters over the years, and he clearly loves some of that talent. He clearly does respect some of that talent, but you can't deny he's obviously treated some people with a great degree of disrespect. So I think
without
yeah,
question.
I think you're right.
Without
I think
question.
I think he loves it. But I think he loves it. But I think, I mean, this dates back. What is it? Dates back to the 90s and before that. So I think
Yeah.
that there's, or certainly maybe not quite that early, but certainly, you know, a while ago, a long time ago. So I think anybody in that position of power has to realize that, you know, times were changing in the 90s. This, you know, social media was a thing in the early
Oh,
days. He must have realized this was coming for him one day. You know, something was going to get out at some point. So I 100% agree with you that he loved the WWE and loves some of the talent. You know, the Undertaker, those people. I believe he really genuinely loves those people. John Cena, I think he loves those people. The Rock, you know, for what the business did for what they did for his business and what he did for them. But does he? You know, I would. The only thing I would counter you on there is that you know, if he loves that company and he loves the people in it, he's got a funny way of showing it. You know,
oh yeah, I agree.
from a business
I just
style. Sorry, go on. Go
I was
on.
just gonna say, I wonder if this is in his mind, if this is like his last opportunity to do the right thing.
Okay, yeah, no, I could see that.
And that's kind of where I was going. Like, because I don't know the guy. I don't know people around him. I don't know if he feels bad. I don't know about the things. I'm not gonna say the guy's a saint because he's the furthest thing from one. Um, but I really truly hope that his intentions is to do what's best for the company and the people working inside of it, and just let it go at the end of the day. Um, and if this is all just a legality, hopefully it doesn't affect the product, because right now I think we can all agree that since he left, the product has just went from Z to A, and we appreciate A a lot.
Of course. Yeah, of course, man. You know, it's a good point. It's a good point you make. Maybe he's, you know, Barry Monkey 99 in the chat saying, you know, Vince's redemption in his own mind. It could be. You know, this could be his way of doing that. But certainly, if you, sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, the one thing he has taught me over the course of my life is that I'm a sucker of a good story. And like WWE has, and pro wrestling has given their plethoras of great storytelling over the years, to the fact that I just really hope at the end of the day we have that WrestleMania moment, but it's in life where we're seeing that new chapter. So I don't know,
Yeah.
like it's so hard to think that, like, you know, when he's like, I'm going to kill my creation with the lethal dose of poison, he actually means that literally. It's hard for me to think that, but I mean, anything is possible. That's why you never say never in WWE, right?
Yeah, you never say never, man. You know, and you're right. You know, again about some of those releases earlier being pandemic related. I think Vince has been made into the villain here. You know, I'm talking before this stuff came out, because obviously, yeah, like I say, some serious issues there. I think the pandemic stuff maybe wasn't as tied to Vince as people thought it was, but I think this stuff is obviously, you know, this is a classic case of, and I truly believe if you are given if you have absolute power, it can really mess you up. I think that's an old school phrase, isn't it? Power corrupts, you know. And I think when you have the ability to have everything you want, you start to you know, believe that you can have anything you want. And I think the issue with Vince is that he believes he can walk back in here without any consequence. And I think that if there, you know, that might be logically okay if you're just going to stay behind the scenes, if you're just going to make this business deal. But as soon as if he starts messing with creative, if he starts messing with talent, you know, things like that, if he starts, you know, giving people their marching orders, I think there's more stuff to come out. I think more stuff will come out about him. I think things will be leaked. I think people know a lot more, than obviously they are going to say at this time. I think there was in one of the letters or something, there was allusion to much more stuff that wasn't public knowledge, that hasn't been made public knowledge yet. So there's more ammunition if Vince does decide to come in and pervert, dunk his grapefruits on the table and and just and try and take control in that way. So my hope is that Vince stays behind the scenes, gets his business deal, and does his thing. But I hope it does not affect the product. I hope it doesn't affect the talent. Nobody's going to lose their jobs. I hope it's a business thing. I really do.
Yeah. Well, when you say nobody loses their job, that kind of goes back to this comment right here. And Bats are wondering if Vince made eye contact with Johnny Gargano backstage. I think Vince is probably being kept as far away from any of the actual in-ring talent as possible. I think that, again, we've said it before here today, I think this is business. It is strictly business. I think Vince is going to have no bearing on the talent or anything like that, no communication with them necessarily. It was even stated that this is not to change the current roles that are being done. This is not taking Nick Khan or Stephanie out as CEO, co-CEOs. This is not taking out Triple H as, the person in charge of talent as well too. So again, I think, this is strictly a business deal and nothing more than that.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that, man. Yeah. I can see that.
And
I hope
very
not.
possible. I know that the world hopes not, but it's funny anyway.
I think if there's anybody to ever join the White House from the wrestling world that really actually did something in the wrestling world, not counting Donald Trump, it would be Dwayne Johnson. But I think probably never.
Yeah. Everybody, I'd be up for that. I would be up for that, dude. I would be up for that.
Man, I still thought if he was to do that speech where they're just on the podium, both candidates are there. Donald Trump was saying a question, and the Dwayne Johnson would be like, "What do you think about global warfare?" Donald Trump would open, "It doesn't matter what you think about." If he was to do that, he wins the country hands down.
There you go. I mean, that's it. Your country deserves a leader that you all believe in 100%. Obviously there's, I don't want to get into American politics, because obviously I don't have as better understanding of it as you guys, but I think The Rock would unite the country. Really, I do. Dwayne Johnson would unite the country. I think in a way that, people from all walks of life, shapes, sizes, etc., would unite. I think if there's anybody that is joking about it or can talk about it and would actually do it, Dwayne Johnson could at least give a good go at uniting the US.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
But I know you have said that you had a time limit today, and I just wanted to take this time to also show respect to the time and give you a chance to plug everything you have going on. But before we go there, I just want to say thank you very much for joining us today. Man. It was amazing. Just to meet you and to get to know you. But take the next 5 minutes out to not only plug with what you have going on, but also just let more people know about who you are and why they should follow Dom Smith.
Oh, thank you, man. Well, I appreciate it. Obviously, I'd be here longer. I'd love to, and I'd love to come back. And obviously, you guys are welcome to come on to Give Me a Whole Year at some point as well. Maybe we'll do a live stream together. We work predominantly on YouTube and Facebook. We also do have Twitch. We're at Give Me a Whole Year. It's down there. So please do give us a follow. Obviously, I'm on Twitter. My handle is there. We Give Me a Whole Year is a platform that we built to. We were originally doing history of wrestling stuff. So we weren't doing live streams. We were doing pre-recorded watches of wrestling, of in your house and stuff from the 90s and stuff. And then in the pandemic, we discovered live streaming, man. And it changed our lives. We were doing, watch-alongs, live watch-alongs, and we built a community, man. And now we're monetized on YouTube, and obviously we're a small, growing channel there. And obviously we're certainly developing on Twitch. We stream to Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch whenever we go live, and we do Raw. Bearing in mind we're in the UK and we all work as well, so we do Raw. We have Dan Hargreaves, who does Monday Night Raw, despite working as well. We have Anthony Nayland, who does Wednesday Night Dynamite, AEW, and we have myself, Dom Smith, and Sam Smith. Sam is no relation to me, but he is a great friend of mine. We do SmackDown together, and that's pretty much every week. We also do pay-per-views when we can. So, like, I did New Japan Pro Wrestling, Wrestle Kingdom 17 last week. It was really, really successful. Go and check us out again at Give Me a Hull Yeah. We do have some wrestling interviews on there. So one of my bits of work is I have a platform. We were a print magazine and then we went digital. It was called Soundsphere, SOUNDSPHERE, and we interview some of the biggest bands in the world. So we've worked with indie darlings like the 1975, and we've worked with Judas Priest, Rammstein, those types of metal bands, heavy music bands, so we do that. And then we also get to, because of that platform, work with WWE, with AEW, and with Impact Wrestling. So you can see some interviews that we've done with some of the biggest wrestling stars on the planet as well. Certainly before Give Me a Hull Yeah started, I've been able to work through that music link with the guys like Chris Jericho, with Mick Foley, with Ric Flair. So living the dream. I always wanted to be a journalist. I always wanted to work in wrestling. I always wanted to work in music, and I got to do that. Certainly in January. Well, we're in January. It's a great time to be on this podcast with you guys. I'm busting out because I am busting out all over the place with excitement. The launch of WrestleSphere. We'll be launching a platform called WrestleSphere at the end of this month. And what that is because Soundsphere is music-based, we get a lot of wrestler interviews with guys like Malachi Black, with Max Caster, because their music, they have that musical link. But what I'd like to do is focus more on wrestling and supporting WWE, AEW, Impact, Ring of Honor, all that stuff, but also the British wrestling scene, interviewing wrestlers from the British wrestling scene as well as these big stars. So we're going to be launching WrestleSphere, and that is on, again, if you go on the Give Me a Hull Yeah YouTube, the link is all there. We're on Facebook as well. We're yet to be on Twitch. We will get on there. So we're going to be launching WrestleSphere at the end of the month. Please go and follow Give Me a Hull Yeah. Please go and follow Soundsphere. Again, usually there are links to one and the other from our platform. So find them, give us a search and support us. Come and join us on one of our streams. Certainly, you guys have an open invite for streams that we do. What I'll do is I'll get in touch with you, and you can come and join us on a live stream of a show at some point. We'd love to work with you guys. We love this collaboration. This community is amazing. You know what I mean? Thank you guys for commenting and stuff, and thank you guys for having me so much. I really appreciate it. Hull yeah, everybody. There you go.
Oh yeah, no, it's been an absolute honor to get to meet you and talk with you today.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Right, I'm gonna go now. I'm gonna go hit some drums. So I'll see you guys soon. Okay.
All right. Cheers. Take care.
All right. Have a great
guys. Bye. Bye, guys.
Cheers, mate.
Oh, what a lot of fun that was, Parrish.
Yeah. Hopefully everyone enjoyed Don Smith, and you can go give him a follow, and all that good stuff, as his socials are still running down there. But yeah, any thing you have on the docket tonight too?
Well, before we get to any more busting out, let's find out what we got going on at our local establishment in this coming week, because we got great contributors, great shows, and here's what we got coming up for you guys. Yeah, and that's this week in our local establishment. So make sure that you're following us along in all the socials, as well as right here on Twitch and on YouTube as well, too. Give us a like, follow, subscribe, all those wonderful things to help out ourselves and all the other great contributors here that are putting out amazing content week after week on our local establishment. But yeah, special guest has been in Parrish. Now it's time to go off the rails, I believe. Now we can really get. No, I mean, we're doing a good job.
We slammed the door shut, and now we can act like our true selves and just be. No, it's time to lose all these viewerships. I'm just kidding.
That's right. Yeah, now that everybody tuned in for the real talent.
Speaking of what, where is your cat? No, just kidding.
She's running somewhere.
No, but I did have one more topic at the hand, and it's unfortunate that Dom had to go, because I know that this is kind of a back to the JPW and WWE kind of correlation, which is kind of weird, because I went all podcasts all streams so far without saying this, but we were talking about everything money at some point, whether it was Mercedes money, whether it was Money in the Bank, whether it was Vince McMahon selling the WWE for money. It's all about the money, and it's hard to not do a Shane McMahon right there, but yeah, I had to. But kind of going back to Wrestle Kingdom, we saw for the first time a WWE superstar, wrestler, performer, sports entertainer, whatever you want to call him, was actually on the card for Wrestle Kingdom. First time ever, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but Carl Anderson did defend that never openweight championship against Tama Tonga. Lost, as Tama Tonga is now your new champion. But reports are coming out that he is on the radar of one WWE, and his contract with New Japan Pro Wrestling could be coming to an end. So could we see Tama Tonga be WWE bound?
Now, that's an interesting theory that everybody's got there, because again, they're choosing to take the title off of one Carl Anderson and put it on Tama Tonga, and now everybody's theorizing that Tama Tonga is going to sign with WWE. I mean, I would think more so along the lines of these kind of open appearances might be more aligned with it, or at least start that way. Maybe we could see Tama Tonga take part in the Royal Rumble matchup itself, or maybe he shows up and costs Carl Anderson. Maybe this feud can spill over with a match into the WWE for a one-off over, say, at Elimination Chamber, or if, for what it's worth, we got 2 nights of WrestleMania coming up in April as well too, that they're going to want to fill that card with as much talent as they possibly can. Tama Tonga, first of all, is fantastic, and I think that there's a lot to be said about having Tama Tonga even make an appearance in WWE. I think that would be great business for them. I know maybe the North American crowd is not quite up to speed with Tama Tonga, but the man's actions inside a professional wrestling ring will do the speaking enough for him. If they bring him over, and the pop from the hardcore fans that will know him, on top of if commentary is able to, tell the story, they can go and say these things. Now that it's open, especially, they can on commentary talk about the accolades of Tama Tonga, where he's been, what he's done in professional wrestling to really get him over with that North American market. So I, for one, very excited if this is a possibility, and if we are going to see him showing up, especially in a capacity of a Royal Rumble. I think be a fantastic way to see just how the audience reacts to him.
Yeah, and before we get to anything,
we can't forget the breaking news.
We can't forget, because just came across my screen, but as we know, Great Muta just wrestled Shinsuke Nakamura in Noah. But Pro Wrestling Noah have announced that Muta would team with AEW stars Sting and Darby Allin for his final match on January 22nd in Yokohama. We now know that Muta, Sting, and Allin will take on the trio of Hakushi Akira and Naomichi Marufuji in the main event that is being labeled End of Nightmare. Are you laughing at my pronunciation?
No, I'm just laughing at the fact that we really need someone of the level of Mel to come in here and teach us pronunciation of these names.
Well, if she's in there, and so far so good, I like to think she has been very complimentary of my pronunciations attempts.
I mean, you do better than I am. I mean, I'd be damned if I'm going to try to say these names.
I mean, the fact that I just kind of read what I see and I don't butcher it, I think, is a win.
Just sound it out.
Yeah, no, announced and official. Great Muda's final match. Absolutely insane to think that in 2023, the Great Muda is going to retire. An absolute icon, legend in the world of professional wrestling. And I know the topic behind is Tam Tonga, but absolutely groundbreaking news because, man, if you're a historian and you love this business, Great Muda is just like I said, an absolute icon to it.
He really is. And again, you know, it's interesting that they're going in the way of doing this 6-man tag for his final match and everything. But again, he you know, obviously Tama Tonga's gonna, or not Tama Tonga, sorry, Great Muda's gonna call his shots here. He's gonna demand what he wants in that final match. And I mean, what a rub for somebody like a Darby Allin to be working with greats like this as well too, and getting the opportunity to be asked by someone like the Great Muda to be involved in a finale matchup of his, you know, illustrious, legendary career. Like it, I mean, shit, that's huge news.
It really is, and just to see for one last time Sting and the Great Muta in a ring, that's going to just take you back because you are just reminded, if you can, like go back and check out some of their battles in the NWA, the WCW days, and just in those late 80s, early 90s. I mean, they had some great matches. Absolutely cool to see that. Absolutely just cool to see, again, like you said, Darby Allin getting an opportunity to get in there. And just really, it has a lot of history, but some current in that match as well. And yeah, like January 22nd, like that's shaping up to be a solid card. So go check out End of Nightmares as it's being labeled, from what I understand. And if I can remember, it's a Sting, Darby Allin, and Great Muta going up against Hakushi Akira and Naomichi Marufuji. Mel,
I like it.
You can make fun of me in the chat now.
I don't think no one's gonna be making fun of you. I don't think. I'm pretty sure that's about as close as we're gonna get to getting it right.
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah. Hey, it's my first day, right? It's my first time.
First day.
Yeah, it's my first time. But yeah, Tama Tonga. I mean, absolutely insane if he was to sign with WWE. Now, there's talks that there could. I mean, I heard that there might be rumors of a forbidden entrant in the Royal Rumble. It would be absolutely amazing if it's Tama Tonga. But now with the injury to AJ Styles, you don't have a leader to the club anymore. And maybe with the connection of the Good Brothers and Tama Tonga, we could see that being led into the story. I don't know. I could be stretching, but who knows? I mean, again, we said earlier, never say never. And right now we're talking about the transition of the Never Openweight Championship. Who's to say?
It's the old saying, keep your friends closer and your enemies closer.
I mean, yeah, it'd be absolutely cool to see it. Plus, I believe Tama Tonga is from the Samoan dynasty, is he not? Could have some.
I don't remember, to be honest with you. You think I would, seeing as I did a little bit of research into them, but yeah, I do. You know what? I believe you are 100% correct. It is such a long legacy that it is really hard to date everything back. But I believe that
his uncle is Haku, his brother is Hikuleo, his cousin is Tangaloa, and his cousin is also Bad Luck Fale, which I believe is in that family.
Yeah, I mean that family branches out far and wide, and there's so many of them all over the place that, I mean, it is a dynasty unlike any other in professional wrestling. And I mean, and again, every single one of them stars. They're all stars. They're all quality wrestlers, all quality speakers, all quality performers in every sense of the word. they are what professional wrestling is and should.
Man, now I'm just getting giddy for the Royal Rumble that's happening just under 3 weeks. Cannot begin to tell people just how much I am, how excited I am for this show
You
on
get
January
to go
28th.
live.
Right. Let's get canceled.
I gotta be watching
on things.
I'm gonna be watching that stream, just checking her out. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Where's that shirt that says "Better Dad Than Benoit" on the screen?
Oh my God! Yeah, no, I don't think I can. I don't think I'll bust that out, pun intended. But yeah, we'll see. I don't know what I'm gonna wear. I mean, I do have a few Shawn Michaels shirts that I think would be acceptable in San Antonio.
Yeah.
Hell, maybe I'll find a bald guy and try to give him a whole yeah. I don't know.
Oh
Nice yeah. But yeah.
Please tell me you're going to be drinking
that,
some broken skull beer while you're down there.
Oh yeah, so like, so when I did book my hotel room, I made sure of the landmarks around me, and there is a liquor store that does serve and sell. Well, same thing, I guess. The Broken Skull IPA, which is very
Nice.
universally sold, I guess, in Texas, from what I'm understanding. I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm sure there's some liquor stores that don't carry it, but I mean, I'm not going to go there anyway. So, but yeah, no, absolutely disgusting. What I got though, I got a hotel for under $100 a night, a 15-minute drive away from the airport, and an 8-minute walk away from the Alamo Dome, and I'm in one of the safest parts of the city.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and there's liquor and groceries around me. Win.
Well, there you go. Pick up your McCain Deep and Delicious cakes to be eaten all weekend, along with your Stone Cold Steve Austin Broken Skull beer, and you're good to go. You're batching it beautifully all over there in San Antonio.
Do you think they'd let me take that through customs, a McCain chocolate cake?
I don't know.
Just offer them a slice. Be like, come on. Who says no? Who says no?
But again, anybody who's wondering, we're not only going to have a Busted Out episode the day after the Royal Rumble, but it's going to be, Parrish straight from San Antonio, Texas. We're going to get the special, the BO satellite to beam Parrish into the stream here.
Live via satellite.
Live from San Antonio.
I got to get one of those graphics. Like via satellite. From the old days.
Who knows? Maybe you'll talk someone into being a guest while you're down there too. Who knows who might show up? Yeah,
I'm gonna network like you have never seen me, and or I'm gonna think I'm networking because I will be inebriated. I'm guaranteeing that.
Just have a stack of like busting out business cards that you can hand out.
Yeah, it'll be like dollar bills, and I'm just like, be my friend, be my friend, be my friend, be my friend.
Awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, no, anything, I don't know, like anything like outside of WWE. I know this was a very heavy WWE show.
It really was.
We do have. Yeah, and I know the best of the 7 series between the Death Triangle and the Elite is coming to fruition on January 18th, I believe. So the winner of that will become the Trios champions. Darby Allin defeated Samoa Joe for the TNT Championship. That was pretty crazy.
Yeah, that was.
But if anybody in the chat has anything out there to let us know what to talk about. If not, we will raid. We will find somebody to raid. So in the time being,
you mean the in time and in between time, that kind of thing?
Yeah. Why don't we let people understand where they can find us?
Oh, okay. We can do that. You want me to start with this? I mean, we can click that thing right there.
Some time to check.
You go do your looking, and everybody in the meantime and in between time, check out the ticker below because that's where you're going to be able to find me. But that's where you can find me for brand new content. Again, Papa Smokes and I are now back on Saturdays, Prairie Pro Wrestling, calling all the shots in those matchups. We just had another one released this past Saturday, and it was a triple threat match. So go check out Prairie Pro Wrestling on YouTube for all the action over there. During this week on our local establishment, of course, you're going to find me on Wednesdays with Carl Carafel. We're doing beats and beatdowns, talking all things about the influence of music and professional wrestling, very similar to what our guest on the show, Dom Smith, was talking about today as well, too. Very heavily involved there himself. Thursday, as always, the MLW review show. It's myself and Papa Smokes. We're going to be doing Fusion for you guys. This week's going to be a very big week as the debut of the Billington Brothers, or as they're now known in MLW, the new British Bulldogs, is going to be going down. So we're looking forward to that. And then again, next Sunday, you can join me right here with my brunch buster brother, Chris Parrish, for another edition of Busting Out. Now, Parrish, I think you've had a little bit of time to look. I'm sure you're getting ready for a raid there, but while you're getting ready on that raid, here's the ticker down below for yourself. Let people know where they can find you.
Yeah, no, I found people, but if you also want to take a look at yourself, that'd be highly appreciative as well. As
Fair enough.
I may have been looking for Easter eggs in the middle of January and be like, "Where's the chocolate?" But if you want more dumb humor like that, follow me on Twitter at Chris Parrish, the Instagram at Chris.Parrish. I'm always on my Twitch at the Chris Parrish. YouTube is at Chris Parrish. But also make sure that you're following everything that is our local establishment as well. So make sure that you're checking out this Twitter at OLE Podcast, the Instagram at OLE Podcast, the Twitch that you are right now at our local establishment, the YouTube at our local establishment, and make sure you're emailing us at olepodcast@gmail.com if you have any inquiries, any questions about OLE. If you would like to be in the position of one Dom Smith and be a part of, say, Busting Out or another show that you see at OLE, make sure you're giving us an email and check that out, and we can make that work because we are definitely open for every collab. We are definitely open for every opportunity to meet new people, and just like we will on the raids, that's kind of how we do things too. Make sure we're supporting each other because that is the OLE way. Bobby, I'm just going to flat out ask, did you get better? Did you have any better luck than I did?
Well, you know what? I'm not very familiar with the people that are currently on right now that I'm seeing on the list here, but why don't we go ahead and give somebody brand new a raid that we haven't done before? Either Randy_Spencer or Trigger Smokes looks like the two that are on right now, that maybe we give one of them a little bit of a boost in viewership here today and get everybody to head on over and give them a big old ole welcome like you always do, because you guys are beautiful and awesome, and that's what we're looking forward to. So I'm sure Parrish is gearing that all up, getting ready to go, and getting something in the works. Parrish, which one are we going to take on?
I'm gonna go with Randy Spencer.
All right,
simply because he was the first one on the list. Very simple that. So in about 10 seconds, we will be rating them. So make sure you're giving him the support, the love that you have shown us. That is, like I said, the OLE way. We are rating right now. But for the people that maybe aren't watching on Twitch and are on a YouTube, that is, we are ending the stream the same way we normally do. So we just also want to say thank you. And we are very much happy that you spent this Sunday with the Brunch Busters, the favorite show of mine, because it's the only one I do now. But we appreciate it. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week with Busting Out, and you have been busted.